good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're from. I am Kevin, and I will be reacting to Nekino 95. He's my good friend. He's one of my earliest friends on Twitch. We've been friends for like 6 days, and he wants me to react to Balkan schools. He's from around the place, so he's flexing his heritage.
School. It is the most influential time in a young child's development. From learning valuable knowledge about the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell that they will never again call upon in their adult days of working a 9 to 5 in an office.
Every day when I was in school, I used to think about stuff like that. I used to learn physics when I was in grade 6, and I used to learn it, and I was like, where am I going to apply this equation in my life? You know, maybe maybe fifth grade was okay. Physics, chemistry, that was the basics. Don't drink this, drink that. If you drink this, you die. You know, if you do this, it becomes too hot and you die due to dehydration. And this is poisonous, that is good. Eat good food. That's all that I needed. I knew I wasn't going to be dabbling in maths and numbers. So
You'll never again knowledge about the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell that they will never again call upon in their adult days of working a 9 to 5 in an office, to learning valuable social skills of not coming dressed to school in your Naruto headband, which can be applied at the office. School is an indispensable period of growth in every person's life, but at the end of the day, this is the Balkans. When it comes to the Balkans and them essentially being the black hole of Europe, sucking in all prospects of development, stability, financial independence, and Canadian expats, it is no surprise that one of the most essential
Andrew Tate and Avril, jeez.
experiences of day-to-day life differs from that of the US and other Western nations. Now, at first glance, one of the major notable differences might be going to a dilapidated shack for 6 hours a day to get your education,
6 hours a day is good, man. We had like 8.
having your classes last only 45 minutes each, or not having a madman play Call of Duty in the hallways every other month. Yet, one of the most defining characteristics of a school in the Balkans is its environment and just the absolute chaotic energy resonating from it. More often than not, classes would take place in a dilapidated Soviet-style building constructed
I always thought how depressing Soviet architecture was, the dullest possible, you know. If you would send a depressed person there, he'd be happy.
sometimes in the 60s
I don't know if he'd be happy, he'd feel at home.
or 70s that essentially resembled more a beginner house in Minecraft than an educational institution.
True.
The walls were usually painted in some combination of Disney's go away green, white, or blue, with the desks being made mostly out of a combination of cheap wood and sawdust and held together by discounted metal frames, the paint on which has been slowly peeling off and rust took well over. Within the classrooms, the schools used the same ceramic heater a grandma in Chelyabinsk 50 years ago did, because all the funding for schools went to the mayor's BMW Series 7. So it was cold all the time. Thus, during winter months, most kids sat at their desks with their winter coats on. While in front of the school, all the fences were spiked and 2 meters tall, which also had a portion of literal rolled barbed wire, as a way to prevent kids from jumping over them and escaping, because you know it wasn't a Balkan school unless you had at least 5 guys in your classroom jumping out of a first story to ditch class and wasting all of their money on Book of Ra at the Mozart bet.
Jebi ga. Voćkice mi život upropastile.
But you know what's never a waste of money? Atlas VPN, baby! In the modern day, cyber attacks are ever more common as hackers are trying ever so hard to get your data. I mean, just look at the email I got the other day.
Allah dicta.
Hey, absolute menace. And that's why I recommend now more than ever to get yourself a VPN, especially since I got hacked while not using one. Luckily, Atlas is here for the rescue, being one of the best VPNs out there and without a doubt the best deal on the market and only costing $1.99 a month. It prevents your login data and cookies from being stolen, keeps your search and browsing data private, and prevents malware, allowing games or flights. For just now, they rise again. You have a fucking toilet. However, that was all fine and support the channel, atlasv.pn/Europe. However, that was all fine and friendly until you saw the fucking toilets.
Mi vagyunk az arabok és terroristák vagyunk. Éles a mi fegyverünk és izom a mi agyunk.
Other than the fact that you basically had to shit squatting down through a hole, which was maybe cleaned once last semester, you would also have to shit in a room where you basically couldn't see 15 centimeters in front of you from the smoke made by 15-year-old nicotine addicts. Now, I'm quite aware that in the West you also have Dylans and Kyles smoking up the bathroom by inhaling a cocktail of questionable chemicals conjured in China to taste like strawberries and mint. But no. This is the Balkans. We smoke the stuff grown, sun-dried, and roasted in the glorious lands of Kentucky, which is bound to make you give up running on the treadmill after 2 minutes and shorten your life by 10 years minimum. So going into the bathroom felt like going to a country club back in the 60s, as you could taste the cancer forming in your lungs from all the smoke.
Jeez.
And this wasn't just the case in high school. You'd also have kids start smoking in 7th grade, and instead of sharing a pack of gum during recess, they'd all be sharing a box of cigarettes. You'd also had some opening up startups in the trade of illicit substances. So, on special occasions, you'd also have the police coming in and taking away Ivan for being a very naughty boy. But of course, some kids also played by the books and would sell home-brewed brandy to the teachers. On a more wholesome note, if you lived in a more multicultural area like I did, during winter you'd have the kids split up into groups of whoever and Hungarians, and then have snowball fights. So, you know, that was always pretty fun and helpful in the preparation for that.
Jeez, I wish I had snow, man. Snow. I always wanted to have snowball fights. And gang wars with snowball.
Third Yugoslav War. None of that compared to what was going on inside the buildings on a daily occasion.
This is peak, man. Bathrooms were the man caves, man. The teen caves or whatever, the youth caves. The most productive part of school life, the most sociable, productive, and uh, you know, most productive conversations went on. And we learn more from the bathrooms than in classrooms. I feel like, the interactions were peak, unfiltered. We got to witness raw human emotions, raw human thoughts, unfiltered. There was nothing holding us back. The most vile and vicious stuff always came out when we, hung around in the toilets. Maybe that's why we became kind of resistant to everything else in the world that we came across. Because we've seen the worst of the worst, and I think it's an essential part. The more you control the school, the more when we get the change, we don't know how to control ourselves. Discipline only teaches us uh, how to. Discipline doesn't teach us how to fight the things we haven't yet expressed and explored. I feel like once we've expressed, explored, and become numb to certain aspects of our own deep dark nature, I think then discipline becomes a sort of uh, glorious endeavor, you know. Other than that, just discipline feels like, boring.
The classrooms before the teachers would come and after they would leave were just utter chaos and a free-for-all. A popular way to kill time waiting for the lesson to start was using chairs as darts and the wall as a dartboard. The motto was, if it can be broken into pieces, it will be. So you'd have kids finding as many creative ways to break the already barely standing equipment, like stacking the chairs together on a desk and then sitting on the throne of heights.
Man, just looking back at school, we were stupid, man. Like, I don't know what. I haven't seen one girl in school, to be honest, in your Balkan school. And I don't know, the contrast was just evident. Like, the moment we get freedom, I think it was because we had so many rules. Like, I mean, even without rules it's going to be hard, but the moment we get freedom, the teacher leaves, the minds start uniting into becoming one big mess of bad ideas. All the guys, like, the brains just mashed up, and in any idea anybody pitched goes. The first guy to pitch the idea, his idea, we work towards that till the end of the free time. It's like some guys start stacking up tables. Yes, that's what we are all doing. Or we are competing, or we are fighting for the top spot on the app arranging it. Like, something we came up with, like, weird kind of sports games to play during our school days, especially as we grew older into high school. Like, sports was restricted and all. Like, the number of games we invented was so awesome, and so awesome, bringing back memories. And it's like, it just comes together, like one big ball of mess. Like, break time, yes, every mind unites. Like, and the first guy to speak his idea was the endeavor for the rest of the hours.
Role playing as if you're in the bus going into a car crash. Come in one by one into the classroom while opening and slamming the door after yourself. And of course, hiding in the class closet and breaking the door. You also had occasionally that one kid giving birth to a backpack as the others around him help him deliver, and as the schools had life, they also had death.
I want to see who's crying. Is that girl who's crying? Oh, they're in on it also.
You could also spot a kid practicing for his life after high school to be a layman as the teacher was going over the day's lesson. And just as the police would sometimes raid the school, so would the students as well. Some guys even put snow in the electric sockets and made the whole school go into a blackout. It was a show.
Ah, yeah, the noises when the power goes off. Late night classes, and when the power goes off, yeah, we become primal, right? It's like, I don't know, man. It just happens, like, it's like an unsaid rule. The raw stuff, raw emotions, the most base instincts of human evolution just pops up. I don't know if we were apes at one time or lizards to begin with, but something just clicks when the power goes off and nobody's watching. That's power. And there is nothing the teachers could do. We used to do that too. Like, it's universal in our school.
Made the whole school go into a blackout. It was a show. Of course, I'm guessing many of you are wondering by now, what about the teachers? Didn't they have anything to say about this? Well, to put it lightly, they didn't give a 90% of them were working for 500 euros a month, or whatever the country they were in could get away with paying them that was slightly above minimum wage. You'd have 63-year-old teachers coming to work on a bike and sandals wearing a babe cap, or with a bottle of rakia that they bought from the previously mentioned student. Often than not, they just wouldn't do anything because they're not being paid enough for this shit. But on the off occasion that they cared about their job even slightly, you'd either have them A, publicly breaking out in tears. Now, usually they were rookies that just finished teaching school, or B, they'd beat up a student. Now, these were usually older ones that were in this for far too long, and of course, after 5 months of this, they reached a breaking point. In conclusion, mi smo govna. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click that like and subscribe button, and go over to my site and buy yourself a shirt at theironicshop.com, or join the postcard club where I send you postcards from the places I visited. My name is Janos, and you've watched Living Ironically in Europe.
Like it, I'm giving his channel a follow. I like the style in which he makes content. Subscribe and a like. And that's it for now, guys. And Nico, that was an awesome reference, man.